No. Oh yeah, if you want, yeah, you could try it.
It's better.
See if it does it.
A ver,
There you go. Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
better?
Yeah. I can see it now. Good.
Better for you?
Yeah, we got you clear now. All right. Thank you
Okay.
for tuning in to 26 Sports. It's your host Mike Reda. I'm on live right now with the leading candidate, as I said, for Trainer of the Year, the one and only Robert Garcia. I mean, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. Thanks for having me.
Man, no problem, man. So let's get into it, man. You know, we have a lot to talk about. We've had a lot of action with your fighters over the last few months. As I said, you're the leading candidate right now for Trainer of the Year. I don't think there's any question there. But let's go to this past Saturday, man. Vergil Ortiz, Sergey Boyacek, great fight, and apparently there's a lot of controversy now surrounding this fight. So, from your standpoint, obviously as a trainer, how did you feel about the fight, and what did you feel about the outcome?
Well, you know what? I think up until the ninth and tenth round, it was a pretty close fight, especially because there was two knockdowns that were counted, and there were 10-8 rounds. So on 9, 10 rounds, I had I don't have to know the scorecards to know that it was a close fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, those two knockdowns are 2 points each. So that's what made the fight being so close. So I didn't know the scorecards, obviously, because they're not showing us the scorecards. But I knew the fight had to be close because of the knockdowns. So we told Virgil in the corner that he had to win those last 3 rounds, finish strong. But we told him that he had to win them by scoring points and not looking for that hard punch to knock his opponent out, because by that time I think it was going to be very hard, maybe impossible to knock him out, because Sergey was in great shape,
Yeah.
came ready, did a great job in his condition, his game plan. They did a great job too. I have to give them credit too. I have to give Manny Robles a lot of credit. But I think those last 3 rounds is what secured Vergil the win. It was still close, but you're saying there's a lot of controversy. I think the controversy is coming, and it's coming from their team. I see Manny Robles. Uh, I see his promoter Tom Loeffler, and I see all his friend reporters like Steve Kim and those guys that are always around him, and those guys that were actually in their after party, because it was no after party. I was at that same restaurant where they were eating, and and Sergey was not there. He showed up maybe like at 2 or 3 in the morning after he got out of the hospital. So he didn't go. They're making those videos seem like oh like Sergey was over there celebrating. He was not there. I was there, and they all came in. Manny Robles, Estrellita, Steve Kim, Doug Fisher, uh, and the promoter, obviously, Tom Loeffler. But Sergey never showed up. I was there till like 1 in the morning, so he had to get there late at night just to say hi to everybody, thank everybody for showing up, because he was in the hospital. I know that for a fact. He was in the hospital. So it's them trying to make it seem like Virgil was the only one in the hospital. Like Virgil took a beating. They both took a lot of punches. I'm not denying it. Virgil did take
Yeah.
some hard punches, and the commission did send them both to the hospital so they could get checked out. But they were both there at the same time. You know, uh, it wasn't just Virgil. It's their team saying, causing, making it into a controversial decision where I think anybody else, most of the other people that I talked to, is saying, the fight was close, but
Yeah.
but Virgil did pull it out.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm the same way. I had it 8 rounds to 4 for Virgil. It was a competitive fight. It was close. I mean, I text you after about how I really liked the way you guys adjusted the plan. those last few rounds because I feel that's what gave Vergil the fight was the adjustment he made, switched it up, and you know he took those last few rounds from me. Was the fight close? Was it competitive? Yes, but again, I agree that I think Vergil took it 8-4. So I actually had the same score of 114 to 112. And even what was it? The eighth round was when the second knockdown happened, right? In
Yeah.
that knockdown, Vergil came back, and I feel he took over that whole round. He dominated that round, even with the knockdown. So you know, I get when they say that you know they're feeling it's controversial and this and that. I only say it from their side. I know a lot of people feel Vergil won. I know there's some people that feel it could have been a draw, which if they want to say okay, I understand their view, but I agree with the decision. I don't think it was a bad decision, and it definitely wasn't a robbery. So I get
That's
your
what I mean.
part.
You know what? There was a lot of rounds that, yeah, they were close. That's why I'm telling you, because the way I was watching the fight going into the last 3 rounds, I knew the fight was pretty close. So that's why we had to tell Virgil to win those last 3 rounds. We told him, we need this next 3 rounds because we knew the fight was close. So I think we made the right adjustments, and Virgil followed instructions, did what he was told. I think he did what he was supposed to do to pull off a very close
Yeah,
decision. I'm not saying it was a clear, we won every round. No, I know the fight was close. I know there was a lot of very, very close rounds, but they can't say it was a robbery either. There's no way
yeah,
that was a robbery. So, but it's just their team. I also understand. I've been in that situation too. I think I was in that situation against Manny Robles with Luis Coria
yep.
versus Vivas, and Jose versus Taylor undercard. My fighter,
Two knockdowns, right?
Luis Coria, dropped Vivas twice also, and it was just an A-rounder. And Vivas still took the decision.
And that's
We
harder
didn't
in eight
complain about
rounds.
it. And it was just an
Yeah,
A-rounder, and Louis dropped him twice, and Vivas still won the decision. I'm not complaining about that. He won, and congratulated to him. I'm happy for him. I've always been very, very, very cool, and Manny also. Manny knows. Manny's always been very cool with me. But I'd say right now at this point, you know, accept the loss and move on. His fighter did not win the fight, but now the world knows who he is.
yep,
Now the world knows who Sergey is, and they're gonna give him bigger fights. They're gonna give him bigger paydays. He won that he won because he's now the world knows who he is, and he's gonna get much bigger fights. That's what Tom Loeffler and Manny Robles should be happy that he was there to put up a great fight
yep,
because I don't know if I know obviously they believe in their fighter and they always prepare their fighters to win because Manny Robles is a great trainer, but the odds were against them. They kind of knew that if they would have got destroyed and they would have got knocked out, that would have been pretty much the end of of uh, of Sergey's career because he wouldn't have had any big fights after that. But with this type of fight where the fight was so close, you know, uh, they won because they're
yep.
gonna get big fights. They're gonna get a big name, a big fight, a big payday, and move on. And keep going. Maybe he wins and keeps going. Then maybe in the future we get the rematch out there. Why not? I wouldn't mind doing that either.
Yeah,
So at the end, everybody wins.
yeah, and for my thing here, again, shout out to Frankie Rios. Yes, trainer of the year here. Victor, of course, man. Close fights are not robberies. And yeah, same thing. Madtown podcast. Virgil maybe had been dropped, but he did dominate that round. Um, it was a close fight, like we said. Uh, they're pushing for this, that it was a robbery and this and that. But from what I found out just today was that I guess in your guys' negotiations for the fight, they didn't ask for a rematch. that they wanted more money. Is that true there? That maybe that's why they're mad because now that it was a closer fight, as you said, maybe they didn't expect to be that close. That now they're maybe a little regret because they didn't push for the rematch in the negotiations.
Well, look, I was never told there was a rematch class, and right away when one of my fighters was fighting, like when Bam fought Gallo, we knew there was a rematch class.
Hmm.
With Rayo Valenzuela against Pitbull, we knew there was a rematch class. Right here, nobody ever mentioned a rematch class, and Tom Lawler and and his team, they secured a big payday for the fighter. I don't think they believed he was going to put up the fight that he did. That's why they were worried about securing a bigger payday than securing a future fight in case something goes wrong, in case there's a close fight, in case it's a robbery.
Yeah.
Because other fighters did. Guy Estrada secured a rematch class, and so did Pitbull Cruz. So you know what? I didn't see the contract, but nobody ever mentioned to me that there was a rematch class. So I'm pretty sure there's no rematch class.
Okay. So yeah, and that's what I said. We were hearing that there wasn't, and when they brought up a rematch clause, they asked for more money over a rematch. So maybe that could be part of the issue is that now they're thinking, man, it was a close fight. We should have pushed for the rematch for right after. It didn't happen.
Exactly. That's
It
one
goes
thing
that
they
way.
should have done. If they really believed in the fighter the way we should believe in our fighters, they should have secured a rematch class.
Yep, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. That I don't understand. I know even if you have the utmost confidence in your fighter, you always know that something could happen that you got to put that rematch in there. I mean, uh,
Exactly.
Spence and Crawford had a rematch clause. Of course, it wasn't needed after we saw what happened there. Um, when Froch fought Lucien Bute, there was a rematch clause that didn't happen because we saw. And just as you're talking about Bam and Gallo, there was a rematch clause. Um, things could happen in the fight. You have to have a rematch. That's just the way it
No,
goes.
that's brilliant, man. That's the way it is, because sometimes close fights like that, uh, controversial decisions, stuff like that. Sometimes the fighter breaks his hand. Sometimes a cut could end the fight, and you end up losing. That's why there's a rematch clause, because a lot of things do happen in fights where the champion could suffer an injury, could suffer a cut, could suffer something, one punch knockout, and even though he's winning the fight, he still get knocked out. So the champion has the right to have a rematch clause, but in this case, they didn't. So I think that's what they should have worried about. A rematch clause, so they could have at least secured a second fight.
Yeah, and now, I mean, of course, Virgil's going to move on to other things. Personally, this is just me personally. I believe Sergey with his fight, since they say he didn't suffer any real injuries. There was another fighter on that card at the 154 class in Charles Conwell, who's also part of Golden Boy. Why don't Sergey and Charles, get in the ring and throw down a fight? They're both in the top of the 154-pound division. I feel that's a fight that should be made if Sergey's really wanting to jump up back into the mix of a title shot.
Nah, Surrey is going to get big fights. It could be against Conwell. It could be there was a big fight also a week before with Joel Diaz guy against Crawford. That was also a very close fight. It was also a fight that some people thought he won.
Madrimov?
So what was that?
Oh, what, Madrimov?
Exactly,
Yeah.
Madrimov. That was a very good fight. He put up a good fight. So
Yeah.
so there's big fights right now. Sergey could fight Joel's guy,
Yeah.
and that's a big fight because they both became their names are out there in boxing at the 154 division. Both guys fought such a good fight that they could fight. They'll have a big fight between them. Like you said, the one that fought on Golden Bush card also. Same Sakamwa, same thing. So they're in a position to get big fights. So at the end, good for them. They're gonna move on, and they're gonna get big fights too. So they should be happy.
Yep. So with Virgil, it was a big win. There was a lot of questions about the weight. Can he make the weight? How would he go for 12 rounds? Because he's always ended fights early. What's next for him? Is he going to take the rest of the year off and then come back early next year? And who are you guys looking at for sure?
But look, I think this was, even though it was a difficult and a tough fight. We got the win. Virgil pulled off the win with his the last three rounds that he fought really smart and good. I think that was the best thing that could have happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's a young fighter that's knocking everybody out, and every win is by knockout. He's never gone the distance, so he's never experienced that going into a big fight, going into a fight against somebody like Terence Crawford. You know, Virgil would have been less experienced, or wouldn't have the same experience going against Crawford if he would have knocked out Sergey in 3 4 rounds. Now he knows what it takes. Now he knows what it's like going into the 12th round on a tough fight. He
Uh-huh.
knows what it takes to suck it up mentally, physically, your heart, everything. He knows what it takes to become a champion and fight 12 hard rounds. So now that he already lived that and went through that, he's ready. He could fight anybody at 154. There is talk about the fight against Crawford. I think Tim Tszyu was also in attendance. So I think for him, whichever one Golden Boy could put together. Obviously, the Turkey, the uh, the promoter that came to the fight, he
Mm-hmm.
was there, and he's talking about he wants to do the Crawford fight. So we're up for it. If the date that he's mentioned is still good with February, then we'll wait till February. There's no need for him to fight before that. He'll go straight into the Terence Crawford fight. I think going the 12 rounds on a very tough fight was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, he's always been getting out of there early, early, early. I think the one that was the furthest fight before was the McKinson fight, um, way back, a few years back. So he's
Correct.
always been able to get these guys out of there. I mean, this year, you guys both told me you guys wanted long, hard rounds for him, and before this one, it was first round knockout, first round knockout. So to go
Right.
12 rounds, as you said, in a championship fight, possibly leading up to one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world in Crawford, is probably the best thing to have happened, because Crawford's going to be there. He's not going to, end Crawford in one punch either. Crawford is going to be there to fight as well.
Exactly. No, it's a fight. So I think it was good that he went out 12 rounds against a tough, solid guy.
Yeah. And so you're thinking he's going to, possibly take the rest of the year off. Now, I think you mentioned Tim Zoo. Zoo supposedly is supposed to fight, I believe, either late October or November for the IBF title. Can't say his name wrong. Well, Backram, I believe, the champion of the IBF. They're supposed to meet in the next couple of months as well. So
But
it's
there'll be a lot of fights there. Next year will be big for Virgil, because if we start off the year with a Terence Crawford fight, that's huge.
yeah,
That's huge already. It'll be beautiful. That's what every fighter looks for in their career, to one day fight the best in the world and be up there competing in a big stage, big arena. So that would be that's every young fighter's dream of making it to those big fights. And if we get that fight in February, that it would just be one of those fights where Virgil's gonna be ready to go out there and put up a good show. Crawford, obviously, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. Won't be easy, but Virgil's got what it takes, man. Virgil has the heart, the condition, the sacrifices that he's done. I think they'll both put up a great fight.
yep. And then if it's February, I'm gonna just throw this option out there. Super Bowl weekend, you guys throw that fight together. That's one of the biggest weekends. It'll probably have all eyes on the fight the night before the game. So I mean, why not?
That would be pretty interesting. Normally they do stuff like that where they put a fight the day before Super Bowl, but Crawford versus Ortiz would be huge if,
Yep.
if they were to pull it off. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be a perfect. So I'm just saying that's an option, and I think that would work
Definitely.
perfect for both. Um, Now you
Definitely.
mentioned Rayo. That was probably maybe right now possibly the biggest upset of the year. I know a lot of people thought Rayo had the skills, had the ability, but they just felt Pitbull would be too much. I know when I went to the gym with you guys, I seen Rayo training, I seen his work, and I was impressed. And I always knew he had a chance just from seeing the work that you guys were doing with him. But to see him in the ring fight the way he did and pull it off, like just as all your fights that you ever had, how proud of you were you just for him, and like just the game plan working to perfection the way it did for you.
Those are the wins that make the trainer and the team feel much better. Those fights where very few give you a chance. The only ones that believe in the fighter and getting the win is the team, ourselves. We were the only ones because very few outside of the gym gave us a chance. Everybody was picking Pitbull, and they had the right to do it too. It's not like I'm saying they were wrong. Obviously they were wrong, but Pitbull is a guy that the Mexican that everybody's believing in. The way he fights, pressure. Nobody thought Rayo could hang in there with him for 12 rounds, but Rayo did what he needed, and winning one of those fights where you're the underdog. Where I've done it many times. I think I could go back and maybe half of my world champions have become champions being the underdogs, and that's a great feeling, man. Great feeling. Most recently, I think Franco was the underdog against Maloney, like
Mm-hmm.
7 or 8 to 1, and he became champion. Rayo did it 2 weeks ago. We've had Abner Mares, who nobody gave a chance against Cuellar, and pulled it off. We go back. Maidana versus Groner, and the list goes on. I think most of my champions, because if I go back, Gradovic was the underdog too, and he became
Oh yeah.
champion. You know, I've had a lot of champions that nobody gave a chance. My first champion, Stevie Luevano, we flew all the way to
Mm.
England to our opponent's hometown and beat them over there. So you know, I think most of my champions have been underdogs, and they go on to become champions. Mikey, Nonito Donaire,
Yep.
and Bam. I could probably say are maybe three of the few that were not the underdogs going into the world title fight. But
Okay.
most of the other ones were probably the underdogs.
Yeah. And then the way that you guys have won with those ones that were underdogs were so clear. You mentioned Franco. That was such a clear, decisive victory. And then in the third fight, he put exclamation point on it. You're talking
Exactly.
about this one right here. It was a good fight with Pitbull. It was semi close, but Ryo did more than enough to get that decision. Um, yeah, I mean, most of your guys have been underdogs. Now that you mentioned that, I would really think about it. Of course, the Maidana one against Browner is one of the biggest upsets in
True.
boxing history, and it was one of the biggest wins. Shout out to my man Ernie Green. That's his favorite fight, and he always mentions it every time we talk. Is about Maidana and Browner, and how it was like the biggest upset, and how he always brings it up whenever we talk boxing. So,
Exactly.
uh, so
It was when I just remembered also was when Jose traveled to Dallas
Maurice
to
Hooker.
fight for the yeah, Maurice Hooker, to fight
Yep.
for the unification.
Mm-hmm.
That was also, we went into his hometown to fight. So see, those are the type of fights that give us the more excitement. Like we feel as trainer, and now also as the fighter, knowing that they're going into the opponent's hometown, or knowing that they're the underdogs, and they pull off the win. I think those fights mean much more than when you go in there knowing that, okay, well, you should win, you should become champion. I think knowing that you're the underdog and very few give you a chance, or you go to his hometown to beat him in his hometown, that makes it even better.
Yeah, I mean that Jose one. I remember that was one of the biggest. That one to me wasn't an upset. I saw that fight 50-50, but the way
Correct.
it was such a great fight that if that went 12 rounds, it was going to be a classic. And then Jose
Yeah,
in the split second turned it off and just ended it.
exactly.
But I remember
Exactly.
seeing you run into the ring so overjoyed, and then it reminded me of how you were with Rayo when he won.
Yeah,
So I
it's
could see it,
true.
and that's why I asked if that was one of those biggest just personal wins because of the work you guys had to do and the pressure and people not believing in you guys.
Exactly. That's how it feels, man. That's exactly how it works.
Yeah. So we got a couple more questions here. Uh, Clay Stevenson, what's up, brother? Rick Vital, he's saying that Rayo always had it in him. He just needed the right team and trainer. So he's obviously giving you a shout out there. Uh,
Awesome. Thank you.
Oscar, my boy, Oscar Vega, he wants to know if you think that Pitbull should get the rematch.
Well, from what I understand, his dad himself, they're asking for it, so they'll probably go straight into a rematch. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. I don't know his promotion company, his management team. I don't know what they're gonna advise him to do. But I think Pitbull is solid. I think Pitbull will come back and put up a great fight. I think we'll be ready. We'll probably be even better than we were the first time. But so will Pitbull. I think
Yeah.
Pitbull will be better too. So I think we'll put up another great fight for the fans. And at the end, that's the most important thing, that the fans see a great fight. So yeah, I believe that they will exercise their rematch clause.
Yeah. Okay. And then you know, when I was there with you guys at the gym, like I said, I seen everybody. Lindolfo put up a great fight this weekend, got a really good win as well. Um, Chop Chop, we talked about him when we were out there. Just got signed this week after I believe that was a second fight since I was out there with you guys. Another great win for him as well. And then you got Jose coming up. Probably Raymond's gonna come back soon. Gabriel, who we talked about as well, he put on a great fight on the undercard of a Bam and Gallo. So, you guys, I guess we always talk about you constantly stay busy, but how rewarding is it just for you just seeing these guys put in that work and then you see them, reaching their goals or get to a point like Chop getting signed, Gabriel putting on a great performance on that card, uh, Raymond, in a fight that was really tough and close with Tevin, pulling it out in that last round with that solid punch that could have knocked Tevin out. When you see that, how just rewarding is it for you yourself?
Well, it's great, man, because that's nobody likes to lose, and me personally, I take those fights very very seriously. We have to motivate our fighters. We have to do a lot of work in the corner also, to motivate them to change the game plan if we have to, things like that. So at the end, when we get the win, it's we get to go to our bed and relax, knowing that you guys that we did a great job. It sucks when we lose because it does happen, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen or it's never going to happen again. It will happen, but yeah, that it's just great knowing that you work for 2 months and you go to your hotel bedroom and just chill, take a shower and rest, and say we going to bed. We're gonna wake up with a smile on our face because we won last night. That's the best feeling, man.
And so again, we'll talk about now your last few months that are going to come up this year. You got big fights, um, Jose against Arnold. I know we've talked about it. Looks like it's going to be in September. Um, you mentioned it as well. Arnold is a good kid. You like him. He's from Southern Cali, but it's a big fight for that division. How's the training going there? And when do you think it's going to be officially announced that fight and card and where?
Well, I don't know exactly when it'll be announced because there's still word that Turkey wants to put that fight sometime in October. So
Okay.
so we have to wait, and we'll probably know something in the next week or so, because obviously the time keeps going. Jose's already training. Jose's already sparring. Jose's sparring 3 times a week. He's getting a few rounds in there. He's actually in the gym sparring Leonardo Ruiz, who has a fight coming up August 31st in Mexico City. He's a 154 pounder, and Jose has been sparring with him 6 rounds. So he's helping him prepare for his fight. And then it just goes on. Jose is always in the gym. Jose is always training hard. Always wants to spar. Uh, we have Oscar Duarte, who's also looks more likely Oscar Duarte will fight on Jose's undercard
Okay.
whenever it is. If it's end of September or early October, uh, it looks like Duarte will be in that same card. They're both with Golden Boys, so it looks like he'll be in that card. And hopefully we can get one or two more of our young fighters on the card. You mentioned Chop Chop obviously signing. I think he's a superstar. He's a future world champion. There's no question about it. But we have a lot of those now. We have so many, like Art Barrera, who has a fight coming up September 20 on the Munguia card. We have Arturo Cardenas, who's fighting August 31st here in LA
Pacheco card, right?
on the Pacheco card. Leonardo Ruiz is fighting in Mexico City that same day, so we're gonna split up. Leonardo Rubalcaba is fighting in
Hmm.
Hermosillo, Sonora, the 13th, September 13th. So the list goes on, man. I don't I feel bad if I miss on somebody because all my fighters are the same to me. I'm not I'm not just picking one or two. I like to mention all of them, and if I forget one or two, then I'm pretty sure they understand. You mentioned Gabriel Murataya. I'm working on something for him. They brought up November, but that he'll be back in November. But I want to put him in earlier. I would like to get something for him end of September, maybe early October. That way he could be ready for late November or maybe early December. So I'm working on it. So we want to keep these guys busy. Raymond will be back before the end of the year. Also, I haven't brought they haven't brought anything up with Top Rank. I think right now Top Rank is waiting on Shakur's decision if he's going to fight Camarón Cepeda or if Camarón Cepeda is going to step aside and maybe fight somebody else because Camarón Cepeda is ranked number one in the world on all four organizations. So he could choose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about him fighting Shakur. So we're waiting on that. I know that's what Top Rank is waiting on. So we could make a decision on what's gonna happen with Raymond because Raymond's right behind Camarón Cepeda. So we're waiting on that. Let's hope we know something pretty soon so that we can start planning out Raymond's next fight.
Okay, and then you mentioned Gabriel coming back early, so he could be back in November, December. Is a November, December talk possibly for the Bam Gallo rematch if that is to happen, or is it Bam against El Puma instead?
Well, Gabriel, I would definitely put him again on Bam's card. If it's November or December, I'll put him again on the same on the card with Caio. But yeah, whenever obviously we can look past Gallo again. I don't want to look ahead, but yeah, the plan is to fight against Puma, and then again I'll put Gabriel in front of because I need to keep Gabriel busy. I know Gabriel has the talent, the skills to compete against any 180 pounder. We just need that opportunity. I just need Matchroom, Top Rank, whoever gives me that opportunity. Gabriel's ready. I think Gabriel's one of the most talented fighters in my team, and we just need that opportunity. So as soon as we have more news, we'll definitely let everybody know. But for sure, if nothing happens from now on, he will be on the undercard of Man versus Guy.
Okay, and then you mentioned Gabriel and how he's underrated and how there's questions where people don't notice about him, but I seen him when I was there sparring with Bam, and those 3 or 4 rounds that I seen him spar, I was impressed with Gabriel, and then I could tell he was helping so much with Bam, and then I seen the stuff that Bam was working with in that fight. So when I seen fight night, that body shot from Bam, the way he turned over and landed the first knockdown, I just seen all the work you guys put in the gym come to light in that fight, and man, it was one of the most impressive things I've seen Bam now constantly. I've seen him here as in Fresno when he fought, but that night, man, it was the way both of them fought was just beyond impressive. And then it was just crazy to see it from sparring a few weeks before the fight to put it to work in the ring.
Yeah, no, that's the way I feel. Gabriel is very talented. What we need is that opportunity, that one fight where he goes out and makes the world mention his name, just like Bam did when he stepped in, moved up 2 divisions to fight Wanderers. I think Gabriel needs one of those opportunities to show the world where he really is, and I know it will come. It'll come. I'm pushing for him. I'm pushing for him with everybody out there. I'm trying to give him a big opportunity, but when it comes, he'll be ready.
Yep. And now we have one more question here. They're asking if we're gonna get a belt for Jose versus Arnold when it happens. If there's gonna be a title on the line, interim belt.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Nobody's brought it up. They should. Arnold has been number one for quite a time already. Arnold deserves to get his opportunity also. I think an interim title would be perfect for them. But as of right now, I have no idea. I'm not sure what they're gonna what they're gonna do. That's up to Golden Boy. Obviously, Ring also has a lot to do with that. So hopefully they do because it'd be really nice. Jose is ready, to be champion again. He's training hard, sparring hard. So when the time comes, hopefully it does become for some kind of title.
Okay. And then as we mentioned, you think it's gonna be LA or Vegas for that fight, right?
Well, I've been told, like I said, nothing's official. But I think Jose wants the fight outside of Fresno. I think he's okay with LA, Southern California, but I think his preference is Las Vegas also. So it doesn't matter. For us, Jose fights anywhere. He don't care. He fight.
Yeah.
He likes to. He just likes to fight. He likes to step in the ring and put up a good show and give the fans what they want to see. So it doesn't matter, LA or Vegas. So whichever one it is, we'll be ready.
All right. And then with besides the guys you train, everybody else there's other fights coming up later this year. Is there any fight maybe that's coming up for the second part of this year that you're looking at that you're interested in just as a fight fan?
Before the end of the year, I think Usyk and Fury are gonna have the rematch. That's gonna be a very interesting fight because the fight they had was very close.
Mm-hmm.
I think Usyk really pulled it off, but it was also a very competitive fight. I think Fury in between in the middle rounds did a great job with the fight. So I'm looking forward to that one because the first one was good. I want to see the rematch. I'm also excited about Anthony Joshua's next fight because I know he's on a roll, 4 fights in a row, all winning convincingly, making sensational. So I'm excited about his next fight. I'm excited to for the world title. So those are 2 fights that I'm excited about. And then the heavyweight division, I have no heavyweights, so they don't. So it's not like I'm looking because I want one of my fighters to fight.
Yeah.
I don't have one single heavyweight, but yeah, so far I'm excited. I know, there's Louis should be fighting for the end of the year. He fights beautiful, Tank fights great. Like nobody knows if they may have fights lined up, but yeah, the heavyweight fights I'm excited about.
Yeah, and then the one that I'm looking forward to just purely as a fight fan is a better BF and Bivol.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a great fight. That's gonna be a great fight. I think that's gonna be a fight that everybody's gonna have the right, especially now that Benavidez is in that weight division.
Yeah.
Morale is also in that weight division. I think that division is gonna become one very hot, especially with Benavidez and Morale in that division. It's gonna be a division that everybody's gonna keep their eyes on.
Yeah, and now we'll go back to it for 154. For a long time it's always been 147 to welterweights, 140, and then above. But now 154 with Vergil, Crawford, Fedora. We talked about Serhii, Madrimov, Lubin, Charlo if he comes back. It's a very stacked Spence. Yeah, it's a very stacked and loaded division now. When you just see it, besides as a trainer of one of the top fighters in that weight class, but as a fan, does that just bring back some nostalgia as back in the day when all these other weight classes, 154, Julian Jackson, Tommy Hearns, all these guys, and now you get these guys at this weight class.
Great fight, especially all those names, man. You mentioned they're all top quality fighters, man. Top champions, former world champions, pound for pound, some of the best fighters in the world. Great names, great fights that could happen. Hopefully, they're all willing to fight each other because there's some badass fights right there.
Yeah, they are, man. All right, so before we head out of here, man, I want to thank you for coming on. I know we got the setup really quick. I always got to give you some shit about this, but arriba las Chivas. I know right now though, America is the one holding the place though in the League's Cup. So I'm gonna give you guys credit for that because they're holding their own with the MLS side. But I always got to give you some shit for that, bro. I see it. I see it. Yeah, man. So, before we head out, man, I know you had a long day today. So, anybody you want to shout out? Any sponsors or anything before we head out of here?
I'm happy with just the fans gave us, man. The fans, the support we get everywhere we go. It doesn't matter where, nothing but love what I get from all the boxing fans. And I just want to thank all my team. I can't do this if it wasn't for my team. Being that champion Felipe, my conditioning coach, John Stremley, my dad was always part of my camps, and obviously with Vergil Senior, Hector McLeod, with Rayo, I have to give credit to Rayo. He's a trainer since he was a kid, since he was a kid. So a lot of credit goes to him with Raymond and Diego Diego Senior. He was training the kids since they were kids. So I gotta give credit to everybody. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it by myself. With Rayo, Vergil Senior, Junior, Raymond Senior, everybody was helping them, giving them advice, giving them tips. Everybody helped out to get that win. With Vergil, same thing. When Raymond fights, same thing. Everybody helps out. So in my team, it's RGBA. It's not Robert Garcia. It's my whole team that deserves credit for all the wins that we've been getting lately. Because I wouldn't be able to do it if it was for me.
Yeah, yep, thank you, man. Definitely, and yeah, like I've seen it in your gym when I was there. Everybody talking to everybody, all the fighters talking to each other, all the trainers that you have, like you said, the dad, Gabriel's dad talking to everybody, Ryo's people talking to everybody, and then when you see them fight on different cards. I remember Vergil telling Bam, "Hey, I'm gonna be there for your fight." They were there for Rayo. Everybody there for everybody, man. It's a strong team that I see there for sure.
100%.
Yeah. So, man, yeah, again, bro, thank you for coming on, man. Good luck the rest of the way. I know we'll talk soon. I'll probably be try to get back to your gym at some point next month, man. But thank you again for everything, bro, and we'll see you soon. And for everybody else, I'll be on tomorrow with Charles Conwell live here at 6:30 Pacific. So again, thank you, Robert. We'll see the rest of you guys tomorrow, man. Thank
All
you.
right, bro.
All right, thanks, bro.